Straw Hut Media.
Hello! You're listening to Release Date Rewind, a podcast that celebrates movie anniversaries. And I'm your host, Mark J. Parker, a movie lover and movie maker. Thanks for listening to this show on the Straw Hut Media Network or watching it on YouTube. This movie we're talking about today is a special one for me, and we're continuing the July theme of 90s comedies about murder. Yes, I know, July is over, and it's August, but I've been busy, I'm catching up. 30 years ago, on July 30th, 1993, Mike Myers took a break from playing Wayne Campbell in the Wayne's World movies to give us So I Married an Axe Murderer. Whoa, man. Although it wasn't a hit at the box office, it was a hit for me and many of you out there, with laugh-out-loud lines, a fun mystery, and some catchy poetry.
Untrusting, unknowing, unlove, Ed.
If you haven't seen this movie or need to rewatch, head to the Max app if you're in the US to enjoy all 90 minutes of it because I'd hate to ruin the surprises for you.
William, move your head.
All right, poets and butchers, grab the coffee and the meat because it's time to rewind. All right, everybody, I am so happy. She has returned. There she goes. Well, there she is. Here she is. Here is my friend, OT. You're back on Release Date Rewind. Hi, OT.
Hi. Thanks for having me. So excited.
Oh my gosh. Thank you. First of all, you're so cool. Everyone knows you're so cool. But OT also listens to the show, which is also so nice because not everyone does. She's like, oh my God, that was a great episode. I'm like, oh, that is so sweet. So many of my friends are like, what did you talk about? So thank you, OT, for not only being a great guest, but a great listener. Wow.
Yes.
So nice.
I'm a fangirl.
Oh my gosh. Well, me too for you. Absolutely. Fangirling for OT. So, Otilia, how has life been? How's summer? How are the kids? Fill me in. What's been going on?
It's so hot.
Is
oh
it?
My God. Yeah. It's been, global warming. It's
Yeah.
so sad. And then we have all these kids. Yeah. Let's bring all these kids onto the planet that's going to die.
Oh my God. I know. Are you like, whoops, maybe?
Yeah, exactly. It's so sad, but I have to laugh or else I just cry all day.
Oh, totally. I know. So because it's been so rainy and very hot here. You guys haven't been getting as much rain over there, right?
We did. Yeah, it rained until June, which is so weird for San Diego for it to rain that long, but then it just stopped and we haven't gotten, but it's been muggy and humid, which we're not used to out here.
Right.
So I'm sweating a little bit.
Well, you always look fantastic. So it's a nice summer glow, right? But how are all the kids? You have 5 kids now?
5.
Am I remembering everyone?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, OT.
Yeah.
You are the queen of children. How are all of them? Are they having a great summer?
Yeah, between horse camp and fencing camp and going to Mammoth and we're going to Burning Man in 3 weeks. Which
I was going to say.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I can't believe I convinced everybody.
So even the little babies, the littlest ones are going, wow. Oh my gosh, the whole Garcia Shapiro clan. Now, okay, tell me, how many years is Burning Man now for you? Is this
This would be number 11.
I was going to say, it's more than 10. Wow.
Yeah.
Your 11th year. Now, have you gone every single year over 11 years, or were there some years you took a break?
We went every year from 2010 to 2019. Okay. And then the pandemic happened and we didn't go for 3 years.
Wow.
So this is our first year back.
Oh, this is your first year back.
Yeah.
Oh, fun. Now, remind me, Burning Man probably didn't happen in 2020, or did it?
No, people were still pretty kind of scared with the pandemic. 2021 was a renegade burn. It wasn't officially held, but people went.
Okay. Wow.
And then 2022 was the first year officially where they sold tickets and stuff.
Got it. Okay, but you guys sat that one out, but you're going back. Oh my gosh, are you excited?
I'm excited. I'm a little nervous because everybody's you're crazy. It's going to be so hot. Last year was so hot.
Wow.
So I'm a little nervous.
Yeah, I know. Oh my God, the heat. I mean, living in Maine now for over 3 years, I have become a summer person. I never was. Where now I'm like,
Really?
oh yeah, like summer. I mean, summer vibes and like the things you do in summer,
Yeah. Okay.
amazing. But like that heat, oh my God, forget it. I was the kid watching movies inside in the AC. I'm like, all right, I'll go at like 6. I'll go out at like sunset. That's like my prime summertime. But now living in Maine, where it's like freezing like 9 months out of the year,
True.
I
Okay.
I have become a summer person. But still, the heat. Ooh, there are moments where I'm like,
I
no
know.
way. So, yeah, you guys must bring like a ton of water with you,
Yeah,
or
we do.
you can buy water there. I
No,
hope. I don't know.
the only thing you can buy is ice.
Okay.
Um, yeah, and you could buy coffee and lemonade at center camp, but like that's it, So you have to bring everything in and pack everything out. Leave it
Oh my
better, leave it
gosh.
beautiful.
Yeah, uh-huh, totally. Love that. Absolutely. And are the kids, at least your older kids, are they excited to do
Oh
it again?
yeah,
Because it's been a
there's
while.
yeah,
Who, I know, let's see, Diego's gone.
yeah.
Who else is
Diego,
gone?
Una, they've all gone. Diego, Una,
Okay.
and Noah, all those three. But then the
Yeah.
twins were born last year, so they haven't gone.
Yeah. This will be their first time. Oh my God. I'm excited to see pics.
Yeah,
That's going to be so fun. I'm just so excited to see them, to see their faces, and I'm sure you are too, looking at all this stuff and like
yeah.
reacting, right?
I
They're
know the art
such
is
cute
so
kids.
cool.
Oh yeah. Do you have any like headpieces, any things you've designed this year like you have in the past?
I was gonna make an art car, and I was like building it, like the Flying Gump from Return to Oz. I was
Oh,
building the Flying Gump, and
wow.
then I had to sacrifice him. Like it was either take the kids to Burning Man or take the Gump, and I was like, I can't.
Yeah.
It was just
Y-
too much to take.
Totally. Oh my God. And I'm sure you are definitely feeling this. I know I'm feeling it without any kids, but like make life easy, right?
Yeah,
That's cool. Save it for another year. Your hands are full. You got enough
yeah,
bags, right? You'll bring
exactly.
it a future year. Love it.
Yeah.
Well, enough of like what's going on today. Enough of global warming, enough of Burning Man. Let's go to maybe not a happier time, but a different time. A time that I feel like, I mean, we were young, we were little, but I feel like this movie is such a time capsule with that amazing
Yeah.
soundtrack, with these
Hmm.
visuals, the hair, the fashion. Oh my God. The coffee shop,
The coffee shop.
patrons. Oh my
I
God. It's like,
know.
right? So let's go back, everybody, to July 1993. So if you listened to this last episode on the show, I talked about Hocus Pocus. I think you
I
listened to that
did.
one, OT.
Yes.
See, she's a
Uh-huh.
fangirl, and I'm so thankful. Thank you. So, so I Married an Axe Murderer came out just a couple weeks after Hocus Pocus came out July 30th, 1993. So everybody, I'll just set the scene briefly. I'll tell you what was going on. Obviously, not a whole lot of new stuff since Hocus Pocus, but a few things. All right, nothing really going on the TV side because this was back when we had summer reruns and there was like nothing new on, right? But on the music side, number one song, you might remember this one, OT. I could see you jamming out to this. The song of summer, 93, was Can't Help Falling in Love by UB40.
Oh
I
my God.
mentioned
Yeah.
that last time. Do you
You
remember that
did.
one?
Yeah. Of course. I love them
Yes.
so much.
Yes, I could totally see you like swaying and like, yeah, right? Song of Summer for sure. Other fun songs that were in the top 5 at this time. Whoop, There It Is by
Oh yeah.
Tag Team.
Oh
I
my
never
God.
realized who sang that. Everyone knows that song, but it's like who, like $50 you don't know the band's
No,
name.
of
And
course they say their name in the song.
oh,
Tag
oh,
team
do they?
back
Wow. See,
again.
Tag Team, yes. So they were like number 2 popular song. And then I thought this was funny. It technically was a 1988 song, but had a major. I don't even know if you could call it a resurgence. It came out in the UK. Was a UK band, but it really made a splash a few years after it already made a splash in the UK because of the movie Benny and June with Johnny Depp, which
Oh,
came
with this.
out.
Yeah, yeah. Uh-huh.
The Proclaimers,
That's
I
right.
would walk
Uh-huh.
500.
Oh
Right?
my God.
That's yes,
I
which
love
is
Benny and June in that song.
I
Yes.
know, right? Benny and June, like that was like, I mean, let's think about it. Johnny Depp already had done, obviously Nightmare on Elm Street, 21 Jump Street, Edward Scissorhands, but like I feel like Benny and June was like prime Johnny Dreamboat,
Yes.
like leading
Uh-huh.
man hunk. Because then later in '93 he had What's Eating Gilbert Grape with Leo and Juliette
Uh,
Lewis, right? So
yeah.
like I feel like that was like he was like a bona fide leading man at this time, you
Yeah.
know?
Hmm.
So funny. So yeah, that song, because of that movie, the Proclaimers were in the top 5, kind of random. Now, on the movie side, of course, July 30th, OT and I are loving So I Married an Axe Murderer, but other fun movies, popular movies at this time, Poetic Justice with Janet Jackson,
I remember that.
right?
Hmm.
That was number 1 for a week. That was a big deal. The Firm with Tom Cruise. Free Willy came out the same day as Hocus Pocus, like we talked about last time. Do you
I
remember
don't
Free
know what.
Willy?
Of course, I don't know why I giggle every time you say it, but it's just
Oh, what, Free Willy?
yeah, it's such a.
Oh,
I mean, I remember because San Diego SeaWorld, it was like a big deal here
I
too.
bet. Yeah. Uh-huh. Oh, yeah. Yeah. But I mean, hey, it's the title. I mean, what can we do, right? Jurassic Park, of course, was still popular. That was like the biggest movie of 93.
Yeah,
Coneheads had just come out, another comedy I love. Remember Coneheads?
of course.
Right? Another one with great SNL
It was such an
actors.
odd movie though. Yeah, yeah.
Oh my God, so odd. I just remember my dad and I cracking up in that one with when she's eating the sub, the hoagie. If you're from Philly like me, you say hoagie, but the sub, she just like swallows it in one bite. My dad to this day just thinks that's so funny. So random. But yeah, Coneheads was a thing. Of course, Hocus Pocus, like I mentioned. Sleepless in Seattle, Tom
Have
Hanks,
you
Meg
seen
Ryan.
that yet? Oh my
No,
God.
OT. I know we were just
Sorry.
chatting. I know. I know. Tell me about it. I am crazy that I have not watched that classic yet. It was such a big deal 30 years ago. It's still such a big deal.
It is.
Don't worry, it's on my list. If I can, even if I can't get Greg to watch it, I'll just be like, you know what?
What? Why
Oh
won't
yeah,
you watch it?
yeah. I don't know. Greg is funny. He's like some of these people, which maybe you know them. I know some of them that are like, oh, even if I haven't seen a classic old movie, it's old. I don't want to watch anything old. So we'll
What?
instead watch a brand new crappy movie. I'm like, why are we watching this? This is absolute garbage, but just because it looks good. I'm like, no, let's watch the
And
classics that
he's
we
been
missed.
to Seattle. Like he visited me in
Right, he
Seattle. I
visited
feel
you in
like it'd be a
Seattle.
little bit nostalgic to watch it.
Totally. Yeah, I'm going to get him to do it for sure. Maybe tonight we're actually randomly, we got tickets last night, spur of the moment, random concert tickets to see the Chicks. I've never seen the Chicks, Dixie
Oh,
Chicks.
the Dixie Chicks? Is it-
Yeah.
But no, okay. He posted
So-
something about that.
Oh, did he? I haven't looked. Yeah. So he was like, "You want to go see the Chicks?" I was like, "Sure." And he's like, "Tomorrow." I'm like, sure. Let me tell OT that I have to record earlier in the day." So I would say tonight could be Sleepless in Seattle night, but we're going to be at the Chicks. But anyway, I digress. It's on my list for sure because I do feel like, am I even like, should I even be doing this show if I haven't seen Sleepless in Seattle? Like, what? Am I even like an American? Right? I don't even know. So that was a big deal, of course. And so this movie we're about to talk about came out the same day as, or same week as, another fun comedy that you might remember, starring a dreamy actor that we both love, Carrie Elwes, Robin Hood Men in Tight.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that one? That came out this
Yes.
same week. That was a funny movie. I loved that one as a kid.
Yeah, me too.
So that was the same week. And then a movie I had never heard of, a thriller with Sean Connery and Wesley Snipes. It actually was number 1 this weekend that So I Married an Axe Murderer came out. They started a movie called Rising Sun. Totally missed that one. Does that ring a bell?
I know I've seen it, but a while ago.
Well, yeah, that one, you don't hear too many people talk about that one. So, but that was number 1. That had its moment. But in comes So I Married an Axe Murderer. OT, I'm going to throw it over to you for a second. In your own words, this is the part of the show where I like my guest to, usually I do it in the beginning. Sometimes we get to talking and then I'm like, oh yeah, I never asked you. But OT, the floor is yours. This is your pitch. Pitch me in your own words. What is So I Married an Axe Murderer about?
It is about a poet. He's a beat poet living in San Francisco.
Charlie Mackenzie has his poetry,
This poem sucks.
his family,
Heed! Move! Look at the size of that boy's head.
Shh, gotta give the boy a complex.
Well, that's a huge noggin.
He kind of like does these poems that are like songs that are about his exes, and he's,
Yes.
kind of scared of commitment and paranoid that, whatever, for some reason or another. But he does these poems about his exes, and he has this friend that's a cop, and he's like, why did you break up with this girl? And he gives him these like random reasons, and
Yes.
his friend Tony, that's the cop, is like, look, you're just paranoid. They're all great. They're all, there's something wrong with you. You're just scared of commitment or whatever. So then he meets this girl, Harriet, who's a butcher, and there's all these signs that, she could be a murderer, but
Oh my
he's
God,
taking
yeah.
the advice of his friend. He's like, no, she's not a murderer. It's just me.
Yeah.
And so you're basically trying to find out if she's a murderer in this movie when there are all these signs. And then she has the sister that's kind of weird, Rose.
Yeah. Rose is Amanda Waller as Rose is what an interesting actress. So odd.
She it's so odd. And then you meet Charlie's parents, and they have
Oh my
this
God.
weird anniversary party. It's just, oh my God, it's so fun.
Happy, 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 happy. Shut up. Oh my God. Yes. Oh my God. And it's funny. His parents, his mom is the great Brenda
Oh yeah,
Fricker, who had just done Home Alone 2, the pigeon lady, everyone's favorite
yeah,
pigeon lady, right? She had done a bunch of other things, but at least that she had just done. And then this was really the first time we saw what then Mike Myers would do all the time in his next big hits.
yeah.
He would play multiple characters, and so he plays his crazy dad Stuart, which is almost like a prototype for Fat Bastard in the Austin Powers movies. It's also
Yeah.
very like Shrek. I kept hearing
Oh,
like
totally. Yeah.
Shrek voices that Mike Myers does. So
Mm-hmm.
it's funny how this movie really set kind of what his career was going to be with all these Scottish accents and over the top sounds that he does,
Yeah. Yeah. Since Paul Rubens just died or just
Mm-hmm.
passed, I saw an interview, and he's talking about like how did Pee Wee Herman come to be, and he's like, oh, I took it from this and I took it from that. And when I was watching So I Married an Axe Murderer, I kind of saw how, Mike Myers did that, like taking all these different characters and how they become different, people and personalities in his comedy, which was so
Yes.
interesting to see.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. It's pretty inspiring to see how he was able to start planting the seeds and take his own creations into new like journeys
Yeah,
on film and TV, and then it's funny because like I was thinking actually rewatching the film earlier today, I was thinking, wow, Mrs. Doubtfire came out only a few months later, and she's got a little bit of definitely that British Scottish kind of accent. I was like, I wonder if Robin Williams at all was inspired by Mike Myers or Brenda Fricker, or I don't know, and that's also taking place in San Francisco. So like, there's a
Exactly. So
weird combo there, right?
the scene where he's and when Mike Myers is doing the announcement for the anniversary.
Yeah.
Do you remember? That reminded me of the scene in Mrs. Doubtfire where he does all the voices,
Oh,
where he's
yes.
he's like going for unemployment, like that.
Mm-hmm.
The room that they're in just looks so familiar, and there's
Yeah.
cubicles type of thing, and then you have Kramer who's in there, and then I don't know,
Yes.
it's just.
That's so funny, OT. I didn't think about that, but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if there's maybe a couple, at least one, shared location between the two movies.
Yeah, totally.
That's so interesting. You're right. I forgot about the unemployment, different voice part. Oh my God, that's another absolutely amazing movie. I'll be talking about that later this year on the pod. We'll be right back.
Woman! Whoa, man! Whoa, man!
And also, I had forgotten how actually beautiful this movie is. The shots of San
Yes.
Francisco. Oh my
God.
gosh.
Uh-huh.
Of course, I'm blanking on the cinematographer's name, but like, there's a really beautiful shot. A little later, once Charlie and Harriet are, kind of dating, and they're walking at night, and it almost looks like the background isn't even real of the Golden Gate Bridge, right?
Yeah.
So nice to see, because I don't know. Greg and I were saying, you don't really see a lot of San Francisco set movies anymore, maybe because it's just so expensive to shoot in now.
Well, and
I
then
don't know.
also I was thinking, with Jennifer Lopez,
Wedding
that
Planner.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's in San Francisco too, but they didn't do as good a job as like,
Yep.
yeah, like when he's on the date with Harriet, that first date they kind of have, and it's at night, and they're dancing and whatever. So beautiful.
What does he say? I would always say this as a kid because of that scene. I love when they're dancing and all that. He goes, what is expand, contract, expand, contract. So dumb. But yeah, it's so lovely. It's such a great way to see the city in way, because like I remember Greg and I went to that I guess it's like a park in San Francisco that has those columns. I can't remember now. But, you only really go there in the daytime, most people, right? So to see it at night was such a cool new way. But I totally agree with you, OT, because I've talked about The Wedding Planner on the show. And yes, it's very much set in San Francisco, but you're not getting as much of a tour of the city like some of these other movies really show you,
Yeah. Like you go to Alcatraz and this, you go almost everywhere. In San Francisco, which is so fun.
Yeah, it's kind of random. Like Alcatraz has truly nothing to really do with anything in the movie, but like it's just a great commercial for San Francisco, right?
It is, yeah.
Like I wonder what the city thought. Like, okay, we have this really weird, quirky, like dark comedy as like a commercial for our city. All right, we'll take it, right? But yeah, I just wonder, because. I mean, I haven't been able to see a ton of new stuff. There's always so much to watch. But I just feel like we don't see a ton of things set in San Francisco that give us that same, tour quality like movies like this did, And I wonder if it's just because it's just harder now to shoot in such an expensive city. It's so overcrowded,
Exactly, yeah.
It's easier now to do a lot of stuff on sound stages, sadly. So, yeah. But at least we have this movie to give us these beautiful sights, right?
Yeah.
Okay, OT, before we nerd out and talk about more of our favorite moments, now I'll just kind of tell you briefly how this movie came to be. You might even know it as well if you saw some fun facts. We can talk about our stars, where they were in their careers, okay? So it always starts with the writer, right? So this was written by Robbie Fox, who actually wrote this movie a few years earlier in the 80s, 1987. So he wrote this film after talking with one of the producers, Robert Fried, I think, about problems they had with women. So it all stemmed from like, the dating scene, cold feet, which is funny because I do remember like when we were younger, when we were kids, I do feel like the theme of like getting cold feet was sort of a popular thing you've seen in shows and movies that you don't really see a ton anymore. Or maybe if you do, it's not as big of a deal. But there were like movies just centered around a guy or a girl that has cold feet.
Yeah.
When like now you don't really get that as much anymore,
Yeah.
But talking about like that kind of stuff as problems with women. And I in an article, there was a quote saying that most women appeared to be out to destroy men. So that's where the genesis for this, started. So I Married an Axe Murderer was the first film for Robert Fried, not sure how to say his last name, for his production company. And fun fact, his co-producer was Carrie Woods, who has produced all the Scream films. Out there, if you listen, that I'm a big Scream fan. So some fun little similarities there. So yeah, kind of interesting. A couple little dark comedy murder stuff creeping in, right? But so they get $20 million to make their first feature film for their brand new production company. And that led to this movie. Sadly, it cost more than it made. It did not make a ton of money. But we're talking about it 30 years later, so it did something right?
And most of all, his fears.
I broke up with those girls for very good reasons.
Oh, really?
Yes.
What about Pam?
She smelled like soup.
So then the producers bring on Mike Myers. Mike Myers, as we know at this time, he was still currently on SNL, big star. He, of course, did the Wayne's World sketch, Coffee Talk. There's a little bit of SNL throughout this film as well with him, right? And, of course, Wayne's World was a big movie. That came out in 1992, I believe, the year before. Big success. So that mixed with SNL, they were like, we got to get Mike Myers.
Yeah.
So he comes on to play Charlie McKenzie, and he extensively rewrote the script that Robbie Fox wrote. Apparently, Charlie was not of Scottish descent, but of Jewish descent, so the jokes were different. There were different things. He totally retooled the script and brought in his friend, another writer named Neil Malarkey. What a name! who is from Britain? Who is English, British? So they rewrite the script, adding in more comedic moments to make it more Mike Myers, right? And so get this. I don't know if you know this. Let me know if you do, and I'll shut up. But Robbie Fox, the original writer, was asked to consider a new set of credits that would instead give him story by and a co-writer because Neil Malarkey's rewriting so much stuff. Robbie Fox rejected that and then went into arbitration. There were lawyers, there was the Writers Guild. They decided, no, Robbie Fox receives sole screenwriting credit. So this Malarkey guy does not get any credit for kind of redoing the whole script, which I guess pissed off Mike Myers. So there was some behind the scenes turmoil with this script, which is very interesting. You know, because it all comes out so great. I mean, you can tell this is very much Mike Myers'
Yes.
vehicle. This is his project. Even if he didn't write or direct it, he is all over it, you know?
Yeah.
So I guess, and I see it both sides. I understand Robbie Fox, you know, this was his idea, his baby, but then it's being rewritten. So yeah, it's kind of crazy with all the writing stuff. But so they have their script. Mike Myers is happy. They move on. They get Nancy Travis to be Harriet. Harriet. And I have to say, I love her. I love her so much in this movie.
I do too. Oh my god.
Tell me, what do you think of her, OT? I think her acting is great. She is so cute, but then she is
she's
so
cute.
perfectly creepy with her stares, right?
Yeah, I've loved her, since the Three Men and a Baby, Three Men and an Old
Exactly.
Lady. And I always thought she was English. It's so funny. I looked her up and I was like, oh, she's American.
Oh, yeah,
Because her
that's
accent
right.
is so, I mean, I don't know anything about acting, but her accent sounded really good in all those other movies.
That's right. I forgot she had an accent. You know, those are other movies I haven't seen in full. I've seen clips, but really do need to see the Three Men franchise.
Oh, they're so great. Tom Selleck.
So classic,
Oh my God.
right? Tom Selleck, Ted Danson, and Steve Guttenberg, which I might be the only one, but there's something he does to me. I don't know what it is. He's so goofy, but also still handsome. I don't know.
So hot. Oh my God.
Right?
Oh
Right?
yeah. Dimitri showed me a picture of him recently and I was like, oh no, he doesn't look the same.
Oh, it's funny. I feel like randomly, this is kind of strange to even say, but I got like a Steve Guttenberg Instagram ad post like that was sent to me, maybe because they know I talk about Steve Guttenberg once in a while. And he was like, he's talking about something he's selling like while on a beach. And I actually thought he looked good, but maybe it wasn't as recent as what you saw. I thought he still looked the same, but yeah, I could also see time not being so kind, but at least back in this time period.
He was on Cameo and I was like, oh no. Yeah. It's like kind of sad.
Yeah, I know. It's funny how certain people on Cameo it makes sense, but then others it's like, oh no. But anyway, yes. So exactly, Nancy Travis had already had success with the Three Men movies. She had also just been in the remake of this thriller, The Vanishing, the American remake. It was remade from an Austrian film, which is very well regarded, a thriller.
Okay.
Plus, she was in Chaplin with Robert Downey Jr., so she was definitely a star making her way up.
Okay.
Yep, that was like right before this. And so in here she comes, and she is like, I forget if I said this, but she is the producer Robert Fried's wife.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they turn to her, and they're like, yeah, you could easily do this. And I'm so glad they did, because I just think, I mean, it's Mike Myers' movie, but wow, Nancy Travis.
So sweet. Like, she's just,
Right? She's just perfect in this. Yes. And I really feel for her a lot of the times. Like, we'll get into it, but like when she tries to do these nice things and he's freaking out, and like you really feel bad for her, even though you're also suspicious, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
The smoothie thing, which didn't even look like a smoothie or a shake. I don't know what that was. It looked like a melted Slurpee.
Yes. It so did. You're so right. It's like a 7-Eleven Slurpee that just stayed out too long. Oh my God. I love that scene, OT. I love it. That to me is like the movie in a nutshell is I made you a shake. And as he's seeing this like news report about poison. Oh my God. It's just so good. And then the closet with the glass door and the swaying.
I forgot about that part.
God. It is such good comedy. And it's so good because she's playing it so straight. She is so honest. She's so eager. We don't really know why. We think she might want to kill him, right? And, so good. Yeah. So that's Nancy Travis. She comes aboard. And last but not least, the director. I believe his last name is Schlamme. I saw in the trailer for the film. I was going to say Schlam. But Thomas Schlamme, I believe. He had directed tons of TV specials, including an HBO miniseries starring Billy Crystal. I had never heard about this one. I guess it was a big deal in 1991 called Sessions. So that really helped him get gigs like this. He had previously directed his first film with Holly Hunter called Miss Firecracker. So he did all kinds of genres, but definitely was hitting some comedy, which makes him a really good fit for this. And sad fun fact, tying back into the turmoil behind the scenes with the writing, I guess Mike Myers and the director Thomas did not get along all that well. So That's a bummer because this movie,
Yeah.
you would never know. It's so perfect, but I think Mike Myers, which I had heard from multiple people I know,
Oh, really?
that like, yeah, he's not the easiest to work with.
I mean, yeah.
There's a bit of ego, there's a bit of control freak.
Yeah.
So, I think the director has been quoted. I read somewhere saying that, quote, "We struggled, it was difficult." So, yeah, bummer, but at least everything came out well. So you can't tell the bad stuff, right?
Then one day, he met Harriet.
Ah!
She's everything he's ever wanted.
What do you look for in a woman you date?
I know everyone always says sense of humor, but I'd really have to go with breast size.
Desired
Yeah, there you go, scratching.
and hoped for.
OT, now we can just nerd out. I want to hear from you. We can go in order, we can jump around, whatever you want, but tell me more. We've already raved about the shake scene and that great comedy. What are some other scenes, some characters, some lines that you just love, that made you love this movie?
So my favorite scene, it's probably nobody's favorite scene, but it's mine, is when he wakes up the morning after he hooks up with Harriet and the sister Rose is there. And she's like, let me make you fresh squeezed orange juice and silver dollar pancakes and bacon and Kona. And he's like, okay. And then she's just pouring Fruit Loops in his bowl. She's like, I didn't have that other stuff.
Yes.
I was just okay, right there. I knew she was the murderer because that's just such a weird, she's so weird.
Yeah, she is so weird. Oh my God. I love that you bring that up because that is so subtle. A lot of the comedy is very much in your face. You have to be crazy to miss it, but there's some really great moments like that are so subtle, so throwaway. Because she says silver dollar pancakes, she's raving about all these things, and then how he says Fruit Loops are a good source of fiber, and she's just there and she's drawing or something. Yeah. Oh, I love it.
He goes I care for Apple Jacks quite a bit or a great deal, and she's like, got him, and he's like, oh, great.
Yes. It's funny, years ago, when I worked at Gap part-time when I was in college in New York, I worked at Gap on 57th Street because honestly, I wanted the discount and it was just 2 blocks from my apartment. So let's do it. On my lunch break, I'll just go back home. And she walked in one day, Amanda Plummer.
Really?
She walked in that one day and I happened to be in the greeter position in the front. And you best believe, and it's funny, she even more famously, the year after this was in Pulp Fiction. But another one, I admit, everyone, I still have not seen that movie either. I know. I'm crazy. I should be sent away. But most people know her from that, but I know her from this movie. So as soon as she comes in, I'm like, oh my God, are you Amanda Plummer? And she, just like how she is in this movie, OT, she's a little off, a little kooky. She's Christopher Plummer, the other actor, who passed away.
Yeah.
That's her dad. So
that's crazy.
Very interesting because she's so quirky and he's not really quirky. He's he was pretty suave,
So yeah.
Right? So it's what's going on there? But she, and of course, I just remember she was kind of in this odd, very New York coat with bags and just kind of looking, a little Rose, a little weird. And I'm like, oh my God, I love So I Married an Axe Murderer. I think she loved it. She was so sweet, but I think she was a little surprised. I think she thought I was going to say Pulp Fiction. And I feel like she might have even told me, she's like, oh, most people say Pulp Fiction. I'm like, oh, no. So I Married an Axe Murderer. And she's like, oh, well, thank you. I'm like, oh my God, the roof, the ending. And I just was raving. And I was like, do you need help? What can I get you? And I hated going downstairs to the basement to get clothes. So I'm like, hopefully whatever you need is up here because I'm not going to leave. But I just remember that was the highlight of my time there was meeting Rose from Axe Murderer, right? So sweet and definitely kooky. But no, I love her. And speaking of, we can jump around. Speaking of that ending, I love how, because we don't see a ton of Rose in the movie. She joins in a little late. She only pops in here and there, you know. But wow, that final act, that climax with her so unhinged. All of a sudden, she's very British. She's saying Charlie, I'm like, okay, Charlie. And she's in this. She's got the axe. Her hair's down. She's got the it's very American Psycho Christian Bale with the plastic cover on, and I mean that roof action sequence is amazing. It's like the movie shifts gears, and now we are in, even though it's still very funny, we are in true like action thriller territory, you know? She gives it her all. I love it. And I do kind of appreciate that she does not die, you know? Because I think a different movie,
Oh yeah, totally.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
They'd kill her. But I kind of like that even though she's killed multiple men and she was absolutely trying to definitely kill Charlie, she still, you know, and like she like hits her head as Tony's like helping her down. She's like, ow, he's like, sorry. Like, right? I always, as a kid, I always caught that. But yeah, I do appreciate that she doesn't die because I mean, she's insane, we know, but she is Harriet's sister. So like, if she dies, Harriet's going to grieve. We got to have a happy ending. So, you know, it works out.
The honeymoon murderer. She marries men under fake identities, and then she murders them.
No. When did you first see this movie? Do you remember?
I think I was in middle school. I don't think I saw it in the movie theater, but I know I rented it a bunch in middle school and watched it like, I don't know, once a month. It was like one of my favorites.
Wow. Oh, I'm so happy you're here. That this is once a month. Wow, that is dedication.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I can't remember when I first saw it either. I definitely didn't see it in theaters because, like I said, it was not very popular at all in theaters, sadly. Opened at like number 12 and then very quickly dipped out, which is a bummer because the trailers that I've seen for it were so fun. And Mike Myers, as we know, was a star. So it's just so interesting that it didn't work out. But yeah, I think I discovered it on probably HBO or like on demand or a rental, just like you. Like I definitely discovered it at home and just fell in love with it. I think also because at its core, we know it's a murder mystery. You know, it's a thriller mystery, but then wrapped around that is such crazy, memorable, laugh out loud, odd comedy, right? These accents, the mom who can't stop kissing and harassing Tony. Oh my God. You know, just all these little details that are so not needed, but they make the movie
and so many
that much
stars.
Better.
Like it's almost every character is a star, which is like back then I feel like that didn't happen as much as it does now, you know?
Right. Yep.
Mike Myers, Nancy Travis, Anthony LaPaglia, Michael Richards, Stephen Wright, Phil Hartman,
but everyone here calls me Vicky,
and Mike Myers.
Like I rewatched it a couple nights ago and I was like, oh my God, I didn't know who these people were back then. Right. And now I do.
Like I completely forgot. And he's in some of my absolute favorite scenes in this movie is Alan Arkin, who also just recently passed away. I love Alan Arkin. Are you kidding me? He is so good. Oh my, and he's only really in maybe 2 or 3 scenes, but OT, they are so funny. How he's such a nice police boss, and Tony's like,
needs a hug.
Right, somebody needs a hug, and Tony's telling him like, no, I joined the police force like to be yelled at. Like I want you to, you know. And then as he's like practicing, oh my God, it's so funny. I loved, and as a kid, I didn't really get it at first, but that scene where like Alan Arkin's like, you know, almost like choking Tony and like really like, if you don't do this, you're going to be, you know, working with parking tickets for the rest of your life, the rest of your career. Yeah. And then he slams the door. Tony slams the door. And then Tony comes back in and he's like, that was great. And like now it's almost like kind of meta how it's like now they're actors talking about how they could have said the lines different. Like genius. So funny.
Yeah.
So funny. Yeah, he's in it. We have a cameo from Phil Hartman, someone else who passed away tragically years ago. I mean, his cameo, again, in Alcatraz, like you were saying, really not necessary, but like so memorable, so bizarre, so dark. What does he say? He's like, my name is John Johnson, but everyone here calls me Vicky. And like, and they never bring it up again. There's no other joke other than that. Like, you just wonder, like, how much pot did you guys smoke while writing this, while making this?
Told that like story while they're in the prison about like somebody I don't even like peeing in the eye sockets of his eyeballs of the head. It's something so weird.
It's something so dark, and Mike Myers is just like, ugh, and it really doesn't have anything to do with anything. But Phil Hartman is just keeping such a straight face, right? Oh my God, it's actually kind of freaky rewatching him, like, and actually listening to like, I guess it's like a dead woman, and he says like the bitch's eye socket. I'm like, okay, this is so strange. And Greg was watching that part with me, and he's like, what what's going on? I'm like, just keep watching. It's fine. But he's in it. We have even we actually, it's funny, I completely forgot. We have a little Beethoven connection, right? We have both Debbie Mazur, who is playing Tony's date in a scene.
Yes. And then Empire Records.
Oh, and Empire Records. And you're right, an Empire Records connection with those two. Yes, OT. I didn't even think about that. I have talked about that on the show. I love Anthony LaPaglia.
Yeah, me too.
I love him. And also, can I just say, because I know Greg will absolutely disagree with me. Maybe you agree with me. There's just something about, as maybe you can see with my own hair, there's just something about 90s men's hair. I love Mike Myers' hair in this movie. I love Anthony's hair.
He's so handsome.
So handsome. It's a great length. Anthony is rocking his awesome, smooth, hair. I love just how the 90s embraced not too much hair, because now I feel like, okay, guys, some of you can get a haircut. And I don't like that mullets are back. No, thank you. But this, like the shaggy hair, the middle part or whatever, so good. But so we not only do we have an Empire Records connection, but then we have the Beethoven connection with Debbie, and then Charles Grodin is so memorable as the grumpy car driver. Oh my God, that is so funny. And how Tony's, tapping his fingers. Can you please stop doing that? And like, what does he say? Something like, oh, does that bother you? And he says something like, no, it's one of my favorite things. Oh my God, that made me laugh as a kid.
Here, I might have to arrest somebody or take somebody into custody. He just drives off.
And he just floors it. And he's like, okay, thank you. Oh my God, yes.
Please, can I commandeer this vehicle?
No.
You're just not gonna bend on this commandeering thing, are you?
No.
And you know what's also great about this movie is not only do we have great cameos from familiar faces, but I also, like what we were saying earlier with the coffee shop customers, we have so many great little mini roles for extras, for one-line roles when there's the busy butcher shop, and there's that old man that as Mike and Nancy, as Charlie and Harriet are flirting, the guy's like, I'm next, like, just so many great little roles for people to have a little brief moment, and it just really fills up the scene, I think, Like the beginning, I mean, we got to talk about There She Goes. I mean, I had forgotten the song is used like literally 4 or 5 times in the movie. It is definitely
like the anthem, the theme song. Yeah,
exactly.
It's always going on.
It is the axe murderer anthem for sure. I had forgotten we hear it that many times, but I did not forget. I knew we start it and we end it with the great, shots of the city, and then that amazing kind of coffee view of everyone at the coffee shop. We're weaving in and out. We're seeing someone, wash it and then pour stuff. I mean, brilliant. And like, the movie didn't even have to include that, but just in doing that is such a cool way to like bring us right to Mike Myers.
Well, and then I don't know if you caught this or if this was anything, but like he's sitting right in front of like the map in front of Illinois, and like Wayne's World was Illinois, right?
Oh, you're so right. I forgot about that. Yeah, I think so. You're right. I forgot about that. I just was like, oh, okay. I actually was thinking, oh, is that like a map? Because I couldn't remember where Harriet's previous husbands were murdered. Okay. So, but no, I think you might be right. Oh, that's clever.
They're like paying homage to his previous character or something.
Yep. His previous hit, for sure. Yeah, because this came out, I'm pretty sure, between Wayne's World 1 and 2. So, he was, like, on top of the world, right? Because Wayne's World 2, I'm pretty sure, came out later in 93. 93 had some great comedies. Oh, my God. We also had Sister Act 2 later this year. So, like, big comedy sequels on the way. Mrs. Doubtfire, like we said. So, yeah. But the opening is great. And also, it's funny, I realized rewatching it that not only do we hear that song multiple times, but I had forgotten we hear his catchphrase, hello, like 5 times throughout the movie.
I'm not a big fan of that. It's just like,
I liked it I liked it like twice. I do enjoy it in the beginning with like, I ordered the large cappuccino. Hello. It's fun to hear it in the beginning. Yeah. And then I think, and then when Rose, that breakfast moment, when Rose is like,
you know Harriet.
Well, actually, I don't.
But you did have sex with her.
Hello.
Yeah.
Those 2 moments, it works. But then there's like too many other moments where I'm like, okay, something else. I hear you for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, going along with There She Goes, I have to also just shout out the soundtrack. I love this soundtrack, OT.
I
We
do
not
too.
only not only do we have that, we have well, this movie turned me on to SATUYDAY. Like as a kid, I'm like, Dad, what's this
Love this
Saturday night song? I love Bay City Rollers.
Me too.
Totally random, but
Yeah.
like how his mom and dad are dancing to
Yeah.
that, and like, oh my, what a banger! I love that one.
No,
and then tell me.
Well, when the dad sings, if the Rod Stewart, if you like my body and you think I'm sad, that turned me on to that song. I was like, oh my God, what is this song?
I'm so glad. Me too, OT, because it's actually so catchy with the bagpipes. But I'm like, wait, I need to look up this song. And then the Rod Stewart song, I know it's corny, but oh my God, another banger. Yes, honey. So like, oh my God, I love the bagpipe scene. And yeah, what's the line? If you want my body, and like it's just so memorable, right? Like the way he's doing it is almost in my mind, I think, because like you, like it sounds like we saw this before we knew that song. Like that's the real version of the song, not the Rod Stewart version, you know?
Yes.
So good. But then we even have that song, which I believe is called Two Princes.
Yeah. Spin Doctors, yeah.
Spin Doctors, yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God, we even have that, which I feel like, honestly, the Spin Doctors, like, if you did a 90s comedy and didn't include any of their songs, like, are you even a real movie, right? Like, they were everywhere. Oh my God.
Yeah.
What joy. Like, that kind of music brings me back to, like, summer camp.
Yes.
Right?
It brings me back to, like, what's that show I love? Party of Five. Very, like, 90s.
Totally.
For me.
Classic.
San Francisco, too, you know?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Was Party of Five in San Francisco? Mm-hmm. Or at least West. Yeah, you're right. Wow.
Because she went to Stanford and all that stuff.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Now I forget, OT. Have you ever actually lived in San Francisco? You lived close to it. Did you ever live in the city?
No.
Okay. Because
Yeah.
I know you bounced around Seattle and, of course, Maine. Okay. Yeah. I mean, it is such a cool city. I'm surprised we didn't get any comedy in this movie with like the hills. We didn't really get much street comedy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm sort of surprised Mike
like a
didn't.
hot dog cart running away or something.
You're so right. Yeah, because there was the hot dog jokes. You're so right. Yeah, but they opted not for that. Maybe too obvious, too on the nose. What other fun moments are there for you, OT? Do you have any other like favorites?
Something that I read about when I was, getting ready for the show. So Harriet, the actress Nancy cuts her finger in the butcher shop. And when I was watching the movie before I had read that, I saw she had a Band-Aid on her finger. I was like, oh, that's like so clever for the people to be like, oh, she's a butcher. Of course she's going to have injured fingers. But then I read that. I was like, oh, that's probably where she cut her fingertip off. Like that probably actually really happened.
Oh my God. It's so funny, OT. I'm glad you noticed that because I did not notice the Band-Aid. I missed that. But I did read that. That trivia. Yeah. Oh, apparently she was distracted by Mike Myers like being goofy and she was chopping vegetables or something. And like they had to quick get her to a doctor to sew her fingertip on. Yikes. Yeah. So you're so right. Yeah, because you would think, oh my gosh, that's great. Like a prop department people. Right. But no. Yeah. I know. I love even though it's very hard to look at the meat, even when I did eat meat, it is not pretty to look at. But that whole montage where I love how he's so into her. He's like, I'll help you. Like I used to work for I think he says his dad was a butcher, right? Yeah. And I just love later when she meets his dad, when she like almost takes him out because she knows martial arts, right? When he goes hit with his accent, it sounds like he's saying bitcher. So you're a butcher? And she's like, butcher. Yeah. So random how I love that moment too. But no, I love the whole meat montage. That was cracking me up with when he's going around to the customers with like his hand, like, please help me, I need a tourniquet, and it's so stupid, but it's so funny. Like, I just wonder, I would love to read the script and see how much of what we actually saw, even the version that, like, Mike and his friend rewrote, even that, I'm sure there is so much stuff that wasn't even written, that was just improvised, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
With these great actors,
I wish there was, like, a deleted scenes and, like, what are they called, where they, like, have the mess-ups or whatever?
Yeah, like the bloopers and, like...
Yeah.
Yeah. I someday I'd love to actually, if they have this, never know, because maybe for smaller movies like this they don't, but I feel like this would be a fun movie to watch with the commentary on. You know how like DVDs and Blu-rays have like, you know, and just to hear like, yeah, what was that like? Did he go really off script? Because I did read that, you know, Nancy Travis really learned a lot about improv and comedy through him. Like she just followed his lead, which I mean, yeah, I bet she totally did, and she felt much more comfortable after that, just sort of improvising and being in the moment, and which is cool. I love hearing that stuff because they're so fun together. You can see sometimes when he does things, because I also love this movie because it has so many montages, but like when there are various montages of like them doing their thing, like she's showing him like, should I wear this skirt, and like she's kissing her sister Rose and then he kisses Rose. Like you almost get the vibe that sometimes the ladies are like thrown off, they really don't know what he's gonna do, and so their laughter might be real, you know.
I feel like that when I look at her and look at how she's reacting to him, a lot of it does look so spontaneous, you know?
Yeah. Totally. And it makes it sweeter. It makes it that much more like you are rooting for them, you know?
Yeah.
Here's a message from another movie lover and fellow fan of So I Married an Axe Murderer, CC Webster.
Hi, this is CC Webster, filmmaker, screenwriter, and a huge fan of So I Married an Axe Murderer. I was in high school when So I Married an Axe Murderer premiered. It was a small little opening. It wasn't playing at, 5 different movie theaters. It wasn't playing in many movie theaters. But my particular crowd of friends, because I think of Mike Myers and Wayne's World and SNL at the time, were definitely intrigued and went to go see it. And I have to say, I think we were all absolutely pleasantly surprised at how funny, delightful, goofy, and exciting it all was, especially with starting us off with kind of like cool modern music of the day with, of course, There She Goes, and getting into the kind of setup of the romance/thriller of it all. And then, of course, seeing Mike Myers as Stuart and all of the amazing quotes that definitely echoed through all of the end of my high school years into college and still now, that, I wouldn't be surprised if you were around my friends from high school right now, like at a barbecue in someone's backyard, and you heard, head, move, now, or I can't do the accent, or any of his great quotes, the Piper quotes, like Sputnik quotes, you name it. It's definitely, for me, one of those great nostalgic movies that I'll be always happy to watch when it's on. And also, I think it's really fun that, it all kind of wraps together in a kind of goofy, fun mystery way at the end.
Now, he's ready to spend the rest of his life with her. The trouble is, it could be a short one.
One of my other favorite scenes is, so they get married, jumping ahead, they get married, and she aggressively kisses him, and, it's Scottish, so the guys are wearing kilts. And I love, again, going back to Brenda Fricker, little feisty mom, really holding on to Tony's butt and really trying to kiss him. But I love when Tony and Charlie are kind of at the bar talking about this party, the wedding reception, and like Tony's happy for him. And I'm trying to remember the lines. I think Charlie says like, she's great, right? About Harriet. Oh my God, she's amazing. She's incredible. Why were you so worried about getting married? You found the one. She's perfect. I can't believe you thought she was a murderer. And then only you, because that was one of the great, suspenseful clues to leading us to believe that her, right? Because it was knowing the lines to Only You. It was martial arts. It was knowing Russian. It was Atlantic City, right? So all these things line up. But I just love how then she starts singing. And I also love, because she's not like the best singer. It's very natural. She just wants to sing this song. She doesn't have this stellar voice. But then the guys look at her, and then they slowly look at each other. And I just, oh my God, I loved that moment. Then and now, way back when I first saw it, and now it's just such great, physical, very subtle, like that look is all of us like, oh boy, And we got to talk about that amazing inn in that final act that they go to, right, for their honeymoon. And she looks so good. I love
with her
that,
scarf and her beret.
Yes, in the convertible, right? And that's when he's doing the funny, making her talk. But again, her acting, I love when it's a funny moment where you're the best husband I've ever had, but then she kind of snaps and she's like, why'd you say that? She's really doing that great yo-yo between super cute, innocent to but I also love the awesome red, it looks like silky satin, almost like a kimono, or like a really cool fitted dress, and her hair's up for their big honeymoon dinner, and that whole scene is so fun.
It's so good.
With the older couple, oh, it's your honeymoon, and the power's going out. I love when he's the power goes out and he says, you gotta help me, I just married a, and then the power goes back on and they're right there, a wonderful, loving, it's great. And then the nightcap line when he says, stay for a nightcap. Is that what you're gonna say?
Yes, that's what I was gonna say. I was dying.
I love that guy. Oh, no, you two should have some alone time. No, seriously, I insist. Stay for a nightcap. Oh my gosh, yeah. The way that actor screams when he runs off, I remembered that so well. The exact, pitch. Oh, so good. Yeah.
So funny. You can hear the terror in Mike Myers' voice.
Yes. Oh my God, yeah. He really is so good. He's so fun in this movie. And then the whole Ralph scream. Oh, that was the other clue. Ralph.
Oh yeah.
She's screaming it in her sleep, and then and it's funny because I was thinking 30 years ago, typically a woman would not be named Ralph, but today, anything goes. That would not be weird at all. But the joke of him saying, wait, oh, she's my friend.
Yeah.
She's your friend? She, okay, she. But then when we do meet Ralph, and then that whole towel scene. I'm naked, aren't I?
I feel like he I don't know, whatever, but he seems a little bit too embarrassed to be naked, right? I don't know.
Interesting. Okay, yeah, tell me about that. Because we know you love nudity.
Totally, I guess I'm just I don't know. As a comedian, maybe I'm putting that too much on him, that he shouldn't be so embarrassed. But he was so embarrassed. He's like, "Oh, I was just naked." Oh,
yeah. That whole
and it's not like she saw anything.
Right. She didn't see anything. It is funny that she lowers her hand to his butt cheek. I do love that moment so much. I know exactly how she then just goes, oh, yeah. I think she kind of gently pats it. That is so funny and random. Especially then, when we were kids, of course we would laugh at his butt,
Charlie, there's something I've been meaning to tell you.
Rose had a picture. It checked out.
TriStar Pictures presents a love story that gives new meaning to the word committed.
Just his beat poetry is so memorable.
Oh my God, I love it
man.
so much.
It's so good. It actually makes me want to go to a jazz club. His jazzy poetry, and then how he brings the band up to Harriet's window, to make it up to her after breaking up with her.
Yeah.
Okay, I love the line how he says, and he says it a couple times. Hey Jane, get me off this crazy thing called love. I just love it. And then he blows out the candle. But when he says the poem about Harriet, he doesn't blow out the candle because he still has hope. He's not sure, right?
Yeah.
So good.
It is.
Good. I have to say, I'm pretty impressed 30 years later. The CGI of Mike Myers in the scene together, I think looks great. Apparently it was split screen. So I'm not really even sure how they did that. I guess they just kept the camera in place, had Mike Myers play Charlie and maybe a stand in there, and then they, in edit, just sort of put half on top of the other half. But wow, brilliant. It looked
I'm guessing
so
it's
good.
The same thing they did for the Parent Trap, the original, I'm guessing, right? Yeah.
I guess so, yeah, because by the time the remake came out, which that just had a big anniversary, 25 years, I think we already were past split screen and could really do CGI, but I don't know. Yeah, it's impressive because, some of these early 90s movies, you can really see the effects. No, I thought, for a smaller comedy, I thought it looks great.
I didn't, this is embarrassing. I didn't even realize that he played the dad for like years, like maybe a decade. It's like, oh, he looks really familiar.
Yeah, I know. Isn't it incredible? It's funny. I probably didn't notice for a while as a kid either. Like, I don't know when I knew. Maybe after the success of Austin Powers, once we knew he plays all these roles, are you like, oh my God, that was him, you know? And you might have heard this too. I read that, I guess before they figured out who was going to play his dad, Stuart, they were doing a read-through of the script, and Mike Myers was reading lines for his friend Tony. And for a split second there, they thought, oh, let's have him play Tony, because I guess he really wanted to play multiple roles. So that would have been interesting, but I think I think how it is so funny.
So good.
With his dad, because Tony's in it more, you know, dad's only really in a few scenes, and it's just such a great way to make dad so goofy. And how, oh my God, well, we don't even really know, is that, it can't be Charlie's brother, the boy with the fro. Is that his brother?
I think so, yeah.
What an age difference.
It must be.
I guess so, but he'd move, you know, like.
So, like an orange on a toothpick.
Yes. Oh my God. Or again, when Stuart meets Harriet and he's not wearing pants, and he just goes, heed, pants, no. Just like so many random jokes that I feel like half of them are inside jokes between the crew. We don't even know, but we're just rolling with it, you know?
So I Married an Axe Murderer.
Here I am getting all bent out of shape just because she's a killer.
Directed by Thomas Schlamme.
I wish Debbie Mazur had a little bit more with
I love her
Tony.
so much.
Oh my God,
agree.
she's just so good.
Mm-hmm. I know. What could she have done, OT? I feel like it could have been fun if she was in at least one more scene, maybe like helping, because
at the end, if she was like with him,
yes.
like if she helped figure something out, I don't know.
Yes, especially because they're playing like that game when they're out on the double date.
She doesn't seem very bright.
Yeah, she doesn't seem very bright. But then she could redeem that moment and be like, you know, it's the sister. And it's like, right? Yeah.
That would have been great.
Oh my God, yeah, I know, because she looks great.
Her hair.
And again, she already was the villain, one of the villains. Oh no, I'm trying to remember. Actually, wait, was she in Beethoven 1? No, I think she was in Beethoven 2. Yes, it's coming back to me now. So I can't remember if that came out yet. But either way, we know at this time she was so cool that it's like, yeah, I wanted a little bit more from her for sure. I agree with you. Again, another great shot of San Francisco when they break up, when he's like really getting freaked out by all these clues, and we see the iconic row of all those homes in the park there. Very Full House, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm afraid you're gonna leave me. And she says, you're afraid I'm gonna cleave you? Like, I love that line. Like, that is another line to me that's like, when you think of So I Married an Axe Murderer, that's one of the lines, you know?
Yeah.
But let me tell you some other fun facts that you might know, OT, that I thought were really interesting about casting.
Okay.
So, before Mike and Nancy were attached, Woody Allen considered playing Charlie.
That would have been so weird.
So weird. Yeah. Also,
right?
We would have had to age everyone up, you know?
Yeah.
Because Mike Myers was around 30 at this time, and it seems like they're playing around 30s, maybe late 20s or so. So that fits, right? But like that would mean his parents would have to be super old, and I don't know. That would feel definitely different, right?
Yeah, a different kind of comedy.
Yeah. So Woody was in the mix. Chevy Chase, Albert Brooks, and Martin Short were all considered for the role as well, which makes a lot of sense. Yeah. You know, Martin Short could have been really fun. Chevy Chase, definitely. Right? Yeah, and I see all of them. I totally get it.
Yeah, me too.
But apparently they didn't like the character. All three of them passed. They didn't love the script. They didn't love the character. And get this. I totally see this, and I think it is so cool that she really wanted to do this movie. Sharon Stone was in the mix. Did you read that too?
Yeah, and that she didn't. She said no after, what was it?
So much like Mike Myers, she wanted to play both Harriet and Rose, which is so interesting.
Yeah.
And that would have made the movie even zanier. That would have really, you know, and I would have loved that. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like we said, this cast is really great as is. Mm-hmm. But Sharon Stone in this movie, especially, I mean, 1993, this was the height of Sharon Stone after Basic Instinct.
Probably would have done better, right?
Yes, I think you're right. Oh, yeah. I could just picture the poster with her. I'm actually surprised she would want to do this after doing Basic Instinct, where,
Right?
is she the killer? Is she not? Holding the ice pick. Now she's holding the axe on the poster. But
Oh,
I just
gosh.
love that she was into the idea and was really serious about it. But yeah, apparently the studio at Sony, they didn't like the idea of Stone playing both roles. I'm not sure why. And so therefore she said, all right, well then no, I'm not into it. I'm playing both or none. So that's how it goes. But wow, I definitely, like, my mind started like recreating the scenes with her in it, and I'm like, wow, that would be an interesting version.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you were available for this, because I have to say, sorry everybody, you might know on my Instagram that every now and then I do a poll and I say, okay, which movie do you want to hear about? And I chose this movie, but it actually did not win the poll. So sorry,
Really?
everyone.
Oh
Thank
my
you
God.
for your vote. It was neck and neck, OT. It was neck and neck. Let me tell you right now, before we go, the top two were Coneheads and Free Willy. And if I remember correctly, Free Willy got ahead by 1 point. So for those of you out there who really wanted to talk about Free Willy, I'm sorry. It's a great movie, but I had to go with So I Married an Axe Murderer. I mean, come on, right? And here's a message from my dad, Mark J. Parker I, sharing some love for another memorable comedy from this same time, Coneheads.
Well, you have to remember that we saw every SNL show from the 70s from the beginning, and the Coneheads were the epitome of funny TV. And then the movie Coneheads was an extension of the SNL skits. And just think of the different scenes. The Social Security scene where he cannot remember his number. And then when they're golfing, the cast was unbelievable. Everybody was in the movie. And we just had a great time with that film. When her water broke, I mean, there's so many funny scenes in the show. Connie eating the hoagie. Chris Farley was great. It was a funny movie, and I got to watch it more. There's so much I forgot. I didn't even realize in the beginning it says McGuire Air Force Base, Wrightstown, right around the corner from me, and just a great movie. I know it didn't make that much. It was a $30 million budget, and I believe it only made 21 million theatrical release. Did not do well in the ratings, but it's a classic. The writing was fantastic, yeah, and the acting, it was just really well done. And one scene I remember, the dentist office with John Lovitz. It's great. He says, "Open wider." There's a lot of funny scenes in the film. So now I got to watch it again, the whole thing, to remember, because it's been, what, 30 years? 1993. I can't believe it. 30 years ago.
Well, OT, any last thoughts about So I Married an Axe Murderer before I let you go?
No, I love it. It's the perfect 90s movie.
It so is. Well said. It so is. From the soundtrack to
Yep.
the fashion to the hair
Yep.
to just
Coffee
all
shop.
this. The coffee shops. Yes. I don't even drink coffee. I don't know much about coffee. I literally wrote my note, oh my God, that big coffee cup. I'm like, is it cappuccino? Is it espresso? I don't know. But it made me want to like be this edgy person in all black with kinky hair in a West Coast coffee shop. So when we visit you, I think we might have to recreate the coffee shop
Yes,
scene and put on like our weirdest outfits and like, just hang out for a while and, snap our fingers or something.
Yes.
So the moral of the story is, if you have cold feet about getting married, it might be because your fiance's sister is a serial killer. Thank you for listening to this episode or watching it, and for leaving a review. Thank you. Thanks so much to my friend Otilia Garcia, aka OT, for coming back and chatting with me about another movie we love. And thanks Cece and my dad for your great cameos. Thanks Straw Hut Media, Greg Clements, and Kyle Motzinger. And everybody follow me on Instagram at Release Date Rewind if you haven't already, so you can see bonus content about this movie and you can get updates about what we'll talk about next time.